I'm Zoe, I'm the Tipsy Psychic, and today I'm going to do a compatibility video about the Sagicorn, the Sagittarius Capricorn Cusp, and a Gemini. This combo is very conflicting. You have so many feelings for each other, yet for some reason you feel so far away. You are in your own little world together. This is going to be an eye-opening journey for you. You need to open up about your feelings, about your emotions. It's going to be hard to be logical in this relationship because it can feel like a haze. But you need to try to be present and practical when it comes to your ideas. There will be a very rare moment where you both are on the same page, and you need to make the most of those times where you are in sync. You need to ensure that they have your back when you need it. Can you rely on them? No matter what you feel for each other, whether you feel so much, you're gonna feel stuck. It's intense. You put up this facade while you're dating. You usually don't have any idea like how things are going to turn out in the future. And if you do, it's mostly because of hope. And it's not necessarily the truth. You get this idea in your head that because karma brought you together, karma is going to keep you together. It can be years before you really know each other. It can even be years before you actually realize that there's something between the two of you. You'll face a lot of ups and downs and obstacles, and just when things seem like they're not worth it, you're done, you're walking away, that's when your love really blossoms. So if you're going through a lot of difficulties right now with your Gemini, you just need to understand that things will have to get a lot worse till they get better. Things will have to hit rock bottom before they can go up and get better. You need to try to be realistic, not idealistic. You're a dreamer, and the way that you want this relationship is not necessarily going to be what you should be focusing on. You need to stay anchored. It's okay to let yourself dream and let your fantasies take over, but you need to find a way to stay grounded if you want to have a shot at a decent relationship with your Gemini. This is a complex relationship, and it's really important for you to be able to explore every bit of it. Just when you really feel like you're truly getting to know them and getting to understand them, that's when they lose interest. Oh, it drives you crazy. It's very frustrating for you. Being together by yourselves will be intense. It might feel like you can't breathe and that you're suffocating because it takes a lot of ups and downs for you to really connect. You'll get into these patterns based on past relationships, past obstacles, and challenges you faced. And if you want this relationship to work, you're going to have to break those patterns, realize you're not the same people now that you were then. You need to not let the past happen again because it will be a cycle until it clicks. It might seem like you put a lot of pressure on each other because of how difficult things were in the past. And you may not realize how damaging that is to your relationship. Because the more you play into that negativity and the pessimism, the more they happen again. And they come true. So it's really going to be up to you to be able to let go and forgive and move on. The struggles that you face in your relationship before this moment of being in sync are really going to be moments of growth for you and your Gemini. The challenges that you faced in your relationship are only going to make it grow stronger. And every time you get through an obstacle, it becomes more and more worth it. So even if it's months at a time or even years, if you hang in there, there will be a moment when things just click into place and you find yourselves very in sync. And at that moment, you usually don't regret any of those difficult times you went through with them first. So understand that this is a journey that you're going to have to take if you want this to work out. There isn't a shortcut, but you will know, and you need to trust your gut. You will have to make honesty a priority. So make sure you're really ready to work on being honest. There will be moments when you feel lost, and you're really going to have to keep your eyes open and stay focused on being with them every time. You're really going to have to keep your eyes open and stay focused on being with them. Every time you go through something very intense with them, recognize that it is a lesson and that you're learning and grow so that things can progress to another level. You would have a lot of fun time with a Gemini. Gemini is usually the one who chases you. They're drawn to you, like they're being sucked into this vortex of darkness. They're usually the ones who can't help but feel seduced by you. It may be difficult, but you need to try to practice mindfulness. Live in the present, in the now. Forget about the past. Forget about any pressure. Try to be optimistic. If you do walk away from this relationship, you often don't realize how much you cared about each other until after you break up. Don't forget about doing what you want. It may be easy to just turn to all the desires of your Gemini and forget to do things that you want to do. But it's not all about them. You're a part of the relationship, so make sure your needs are being met. Don't just jump to conclusions about your Gemini. Geminis hate to be put in a box or categorized, so before you accuse them of anything or act like you know them or the situation, take some time to think it through and explore. This is definitely a karmic relationship. Fate usually brings you together. The universe is usually trying to tell you something. You might feel like you're being very influenced by them when it comes to their habits. If you are someone who's always on time and then they're someone who is always late, you might start to find yourself being more late. And sometimes you take on their habits for safety. If you feel like you can't rely on them, and then you back off too. And you don't know if you really want to commit or go all into something if you feel like they're not super stable, even though you are like the black hole of the relationship. The Gemini will probably feel like you are irresistible. Even if you're cynical and pessimistic, your fantasies can either be the downfall of the relationship or it can be the relationship's greatest asset. If you put your creativity and your minds together, then things can turn out really well. Often you'll see each other as the one that got away. Timing is a big issue for you. It's like your worst nightmare. When one of you is single, the other one is in a relationship, so they're unavailable. Or you both start dating at the same time when you come back into each other's lives. So there's never a good moment. And then you face a lot of ups and downs. And you'll realize what I've given up is actually just what I needed. You don't have to do it all the time, but it's very important to let go of facades. Sometimes you need to do some reflection on your relationship. You're constantly changing and growing as a person, and that means that your journey will constantly be changing. And it's going to be very important to look at your life while you're in this relationship. It will shape you as a person. A Gemini might make you feel insecure, especially because they're always changing their mind. They're not the most stable sign. It can cause a lot of anxiety for you. You radiate this intense energy that Geminis are so attracted to, and you just spark something in them. Marriages are not usually happy with this couple. There's usually much more negativity when it comes to love than harmony. You both get a lot out of being friends. You'll feel like you're often the center of attention, and you're not used to feeling like you're the center of attention, but somehow you'll find yourself being able to be more communicative and dramatic, which is pretty out of character for you. When you both realize something at the same time and you're in sync, it will bring you closer together. You have to ask yourself if you're okay with how unpredictable your Gemini is. This intense attraction may seem like a really positive thing, but it's often a really bad thing. Just really bad energy swirling around. A lot of the time, the only thing that holds a marriage between these two together is a fantasy. You don't want to face reality, and you're so good at avoiding it together. When your Gemini is with you, they're usually more calm and down to earth than they usually are. You bring that out of them. When it comes to picking your battles, Gemini is usually really good at that. They can tell when there's something that's really worth talking about, and then if there's something that they just like don't want to start problems with. But with you, it's different. The Gemini won't have that ability. They will constantly be venting, constantly expressing themselves. They will fight every battle with you, against you, a lot of the time. And that can be a good thing, but it can also be a very bad thing. Addiction can be a challenge for you both a lot of the time. If you both do drugs of any kind, then you can start using it more as a crutch to deal with things and cope. And that can become very unhealthy. Some of the best times you experience as a couple during a marriage is when things suddenly, like they're very routinely and kind of getting boring, honestly. But then something random happens that shakes things up, and those are like the best times. It really impacts your perspective as a couple, and it helps you grow. You may want to keep tabs on your Gemini. Just make sure that you have a lot of trust, because they won't like it if you're possessive or if you have expectations of them. Sometimes you might play, or you'll ignore a text from them just to kind of mess with them because you know it gets under their skin. And so sometimes you'll do it, and it's usually like your actions. You don't say things to tease them. It's not like a joke or a conversation you have. It's just like little things that you know will bug them, like acting a certain way. Sometimes you won't even realize how much you're doing it. You have this subconscious need to rile them up. You both are very creative and have a very strong imagination, and you support each other, and you really appreciate how you fantasize. When you're around your Gemini, you'll both be inspired to be more driven. They'll help you come out of your shell. In the bedroom, role play might be your forte. On the outside of your relationship, it can look like a soap opera. It can seem sort of fake. Even if it's not what your love is really like, you can still have a blast. But if you want a serious relationship with him, then you're gonna need more substance. There needs to be more of a purpose in this relationship. Some of your best moments happen while you're married, even if marriage really isn't the best thing. You can hang on to each other for a really long time, just based on this dream. Things would be always interesting with your Gemini. There would never be a dull moment. Your Gemini might get on your case about not listening to them, but a lot of the time you just don't really remember everything that they tell you. In a way, your relationship is not real. Many times you'll meet your Gemini after getting out of a relationship that was kind of shallow and very unsatisfying. And so when you meet, you'll compare each other to your previous partner who wasn't that great and, wasn't that interesting. And it will seem so much more deep than it is because you're comparing it to that relationship. The Gemini, of course, is going to be the chatty one, always talking. And it may feel like they're talking to a wall because you're not going to be very good at keeping up with their conversations all the time. This relationship really needs direction. To be on a path, you need to work for it. If you stop making it a priority and you stop making an effort, then you might as well say goodbye to your Gemini. Oh my God, that rhymes. Flings are more like wake-up calls. It can actually be very therapeutic to you. Your Gemini would be a lot of fun. Sometimes the Gemini can talk and they may sound like a broken record. They say things you've heard before over and over, maybe in different ways. And it can be hard for you to take it all seriously after a while when you hear the same thing over and over again. The dream of your relationship will go on for a while. Sometimes you need another person or a fling, a lover to shake things up and make you realize that there is a strong potential with your Gemini. But if you don't feel that person, you could go on forever in this sort of fake love. If your long-term relationship or marriage with them is not working, like you're having a lot of troubles, I do suggest seeing a marriage counselor or relationship coach, because it really could help this match. You guys could benefit from some therapy, especially when it comes to being in your head and just letting your relationship wander. You might not be as carried away if this is a platonic relationship, like a friendship. So there is a lot of negativity overall with this pair. Good luck. Doesn't mean you can't do it, but just keep all of these tips in mind so you can kind of shape things to the best of your abilities and make things work if you really want to. Okay. If you are a Sagicorn, the cusp of Sagittarius and Capricorn, or if you are a Gemini, please comment below. Let me know what you think. Was this accurate? Are you interested in each other? I would love to hear more from you, so let me know. Subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like this video and check out more of them. Bye-bye.